Let me ask this question. Would you eat just about anything to survive? As a human being, I am very limited to what I eat. Well, I'm not here to talk down on any nationality or any form of ethnic group on what they eat. But I am here just to ask the question, how limited are you when it comes to eating certain things? Or are you willing to try just about anything? Say, for example, you travel to another country, and the things that you wouldn't normally eat when you are in your country, certain foods that you would normally see as a taboo food, and you go to a country as a tourist, you go to a restaurant, for example, or you happen to go into a village or a neighborhood and happens to see people eating certain type of food or foods that you would call taboo, how would you react? What would you say? Would you make up your faces at them? Would you squirm? Would you go one step aside and puke? Or would you be willing to try it? Would you be? On YouTube here, there are some videos that I come across. And to be honest, I don't want to make up my face, but seeing certain things, it just happens naturally because I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't eat it. Yes, I'm very limited to what I would eat to survive. If it's plant-based, then I will be willing to try it. But certain type of game meat or certain type of insects, I am not willing at all. So I'm going to share something that I came across, a video that I came across, and that video made me had a nightmare last night. First of all, the people that was cooking it, they were Asian. Asian, what some of you call Chinese, or Asian people. Two gentlemen, they weren't wearing any shirts either, and what I saw them with was a huge intestine or stomach. I'm not squirming over intestines because as a Jamaican, we eat intestines. We like to have our goat belly soup or curried up nicely. As Indian, yeah, we curry goat belly and have it with rice or roti or. And we also eat cow tripe. Yeah, man, Jamaicans love cow tripe. Not all Jamaicans eat intestines, but most Jamaicans, or a lot of Jamaicans, eat the cow tripe. We love our tripe and bean. Whether it's curried or a little brown or something like that, or even in soups, we love to eat tripe. So the gentleman, I saw them with a huge intestine and stomach, and it looks like it was from a cow because of the size of how big the tripes were. Guys, this might sound graphic to you, but when I saw them, the way of how they prepare it, that was what got to me. I know that here in Jamaica, there's a way of emptying the tripe before putting it to scald, like a few times before we cut it up and season it and prepare it for cooking. So I was expecting to see the men empty the cow tripe and wash it as best as they could. But to my surprise, they did not empty it. However, they washed it. Yes, they rinsed it. And what I admire about Asian people when they're cooking, They wash their food many times, no matter what they're cooking, whether it's plant-based or meat or bugs or frogs or whatever. Yes, they will wash it many times before they cook it, and they cook with a lot of spice also. So when I saw them rinsed it, I was like, okay, they rinse it before they empty it. After rinsing it, they went on to put it in a pot, and then they put it on the fire. So I was like, hold on, what's going on here? When are they gonna empty whatever is in the tripe? But when I saw them put fire to it, I was like, so how are they gonna cook it or get it? Are they getting it hot? Maybe it's easier, they find it easier that way to empty it or whatever. But let me just watch what's going on here. When I look, they put a big fire under it, and it reached boiling point. It reached to the point where it started to froth. When I look, they started gathering their spices. I was like, what could they possibly be doing with that? They could never be cooking it to eat, to consume. Let's see what's happening here. I started seeing them gathering their spices, like lots of hot pepper, cayenne pepper, the red ones, the long ones, ginger, and yes, they cook with lemongrass and lime leaves as well. I've never cooked with lemongrass or lime leaf, but I can imagine that it has a nice flavor. I cook with a lot of spice too, pepper, and I do cook with ginger, so I know the flavor of that. They crush the fever grass or lemongrass. They chop it up. They chop it in big chunks. They throw it in the pot. They chop the ginger in big chunks. They throw it in the pot. And they crush the pepper and they throw it in the pot. And I saw them put something white. Maybe it's salt. I don't know. And another powdery thing. I wouldn't have a clue what it was. So they're right in front of me now. I can see that they were well on their way cooking the tripe, but they did not empty whatever the feed or the food. You know how it looks when a cow grinds up the grass or whatever they eat, how it looks green, and it also has a high smell, because I see people empty tripe before. I can't stand the scent of it, but I will eat the tripe if it's scalded and cooked properly, highly seasoned. I will eat some. When I look, the pot started bubbling away, and they had their chopstick, because when those people cooking, they rarely use spoon like we do. They use chopsticks. Even to stir the intestines, the huge intestines, they were using chopsticks. And they were stirring, and guess what started to happen? It seems as if the intestines started to burst, and I saw green all over in the pots. Oh my God. Then it started to froth and boil all over the edge of the pot. And I'm still wondering, even though I see them putting so much thyme and seasonings, spices, natural spices, powdered seasoning, and looks like salt in it. At that stage, I was still wondering, what could they possibly be doing with this type of dish that they're cooking? It was so green. I never wanted to imagine the aroma that was coming from that pot. Guys, this is like a story time. And it was boiling away, and they were stirring away, and I was like waiting and to see when they're gonna remove that from the fire, what they're gonna do with it. Lo and behold, time came and they removed the pot from the fire. Guys, they put the pot on they spread out something that looks like a table cover or just a piece of cloth, I don't know. And around 4 men and a boy gathered around the pot. And you know those white little bowls that the Asian people like to eat from and drink from? Everyone had one of that in front of them with their chopstick, and I think one or two of them had another little bowl with something that looks like some sauce or the other in it. And everyone had their little cups with their sake. You know that wine that they drink, they always take a shot before they eat. And I might sound stupid, but whether you believe it or not, I was still wondering if they were gonna eat that, because I could never imagine cooking intestines without emptying it, and the way how it looks in the pot, that they would be eating that. As gross as it might sound to some of you, it looks to me like it is a delicacy to those men and that little boy that was gonna eat it. Yes, you heard me right. They were gonna eat it. Guys, after they took their shot, well, the little boy didn't take a shot of they call it sake. I think it's made from rice wine. They started dipping in the pot with the chopstick, taking up the tripe as whole as it was, just the same. And when they took up some, they used a scissors to cut it off. Then they started putting it in the plates. They started sharing some intestines in the bowls. And then they used the scissors and cut it in small pieces. And yes, they started to eat it. It was at that point when I started to feel weak. I was like in the middle of the night when I was watching it, my stomach started to feel weak. I watched them eat it. I was fixed to the video though. I watched it until the end. It sounded away. It sounds away, but I had to watch it. Can you believe that? After they took out the intestines and eat, they started dipping in the pot of green, thick substance with some big spoon and started to sip it, drink it. I don't know what that dish was called. I don't need to know. I don't need to know if it's something that they eat on a regular basis. Neither do I need to know if it's a delicacy, because if I should go to their country and see them preparing such a meal, I'm gonna run. I am gonna run as far as the east is from the west, because I don't want them to offer me any. It was so bad when I saw them eating the tripe like that, but it was even worse when I saw them took up the thick green substance and tasted it and said, make that sound. You know when you're eating something and it's delicious? Those were the sounds that those men were making. Guys, it's not right to look down on people and what they eat, because it's their tradition. It's how they grow up, what they grow up eating from their elders. And we shouldn't see it as gross, but to be honest, I cannot lie to myself. I would never eat that. I would resort to eating bushes and grass, the lime leaves and the lemongrass and even the ginger and the pepper, but never ever would I eat cow intestines unemptied, cooked in a pot with many different spices. Neither would I drink the soup of green looking substance that I saw. What is your views on that, guys? How do you feel about other nationalities and certain foods that they eat? Don't be afraid to share your views and your opinions here. I don't mind constructive criticisms or constructive comments. Please share your thoughts on different cultures and the foods that they eat.